This is Chris, the Idaho Painter here on Paint Live TV. Today I got a special guest with me, Matt Toman from Tower Sealants, and we've got a really cool interview. We're going to be talking about a really cool product that Tower is coming out with, or has actually already come out with, an eco-friendly refillable caulking gun. So stay tuned for this interview and this video if you want to see some new technology in the caulking world. So I've got Matt here. We're going to be talking a little bit about caulking today, and it's something that we use almost every day in painting. So Matt, who are you? What do you do here? What's your role here at Tower Sealants?
Yeah, well, Chris, first, thanks for coming to join us. We appreciate you flying across the country to spend some time with us. Again, my name's Matt. I'm in a new product development role here at Tower. I've been here since the beginning of the year. And predominantly, I'm focused on driving some new innovation. There's been some great ideas, some great products, some chemical technology that Tower's had available for a period of time. And they've been fortunate enough to where they've been growing with their current customer base, that a lot of these great new innovations have just been sitting over on the shelf or on the side. And so my job's to bring this to life and figure out, what the painters need and what the market demands and how we fill that additional space.
So how long have you been with Tower Sealants now? Is this a new role, or is it?
It's a new role that was developed coming in, and I've been here since the beginning of March. And prior to that, I was with a large paint manufacturer and in the industry a little over a decade.
Yeah, so you've been in the paint industry, product-related industry for quite some time now. So I think you got a lot of experience doing this. Can you give me a fun fact about yourself?
About me.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
I'm a little calmer now. I have a wife and 3 kids, but I spent quite a few years skydiving. That was my passion. And so a little after the second child, before our third was born, I decided it was time to hang that up. And maybe someday we'll revisit that and start again.
And so skydiving, and you've obviously survived. So
yeah, every time.
I'm an adrenaline junkie, and so and I think most skydivers probably are too. But skydiving is one thing I don't think I would ever do.
It's not as exciting as caulk.
So, all right. So we do have a product in front of us. We're going to be talking about this product, and I think you're pretty excited about it. Tower's pretty excited about it. I was excited to fly across the nation to check this thing out and see what this is all about. Because anytime we come out with products, new innovations and stuff, it's kind of cool to see what's new, what could possibly be game-changing tools out there. And here's a kind of a look at what we're dealing with right here. And this is a refillable caulking gun. And can you explain a little bit about what this thing does and what it's all about?
Sure. So this has been something that Tower's had in the works for several years. It's patent pending for a variety of different utility patents. I guess starting with what the challenge is. And as you know, probably the last 12, 18 months, there's been a lot of challenges in the industry from a supply chain perspective. And one of those shortages or bottlenecks has been the availability of plastic cartridges. So I think we're all hopeful that things will go back to normal at some point. But one of the challenges is there's a lot of legislation that's out there pending. The National Break Free from Plastic Pollution Act is one. Many other states have similar local legislation at different levels. But eventually, I think single-use plastic is likely to be taxed, fined, or just outright banned in different capacities. And the problem with caulk tubes, currently there's about 1 billion roughly a year just in North America that are thrown in a landfill, is because of the caulk or adhesive residue inside. They're not recyclable.
So did I hear that right? There's 1 billion of these things thrown in our landfills?
Every year, just in North America, not worldwide.
And this is a single-use plastic. Mm-hmm. So does this thing degrade in the landfill? Does it disappear, or is it there forever?
It's a good Rob question.
Good. So we are going to be talking to the chemist behind all this stuff. So I'll ask Rob about that. But I think So when you're using this tube, there's some left over in this tube, right?
Yeah, so there's some left in the top and the tip, as you're familiar with, and from what doesn't get pushed out from the top of the plunger. And then as the plunger goes up, there's little tiny amounts of residual that are left throughout the tube as well. And if you have a clear tube, you would see that. If you have a colored tube, you'd see that. But when you have a white tube with white caulk, you typically don't see it. Or if you're using a colored caulk and you look at the end sometime, you'll probably see some of that residual that you don't otherwise notice.
And so that plunger inside there is actually sealing that caulking in there, so that caulking basically is in the landfill, it doesn't dry out, and it's inside this tube is to a certain extent.
Yeah, and over time anything will dry out. I think the challenge is when you try to take that plastic and reuse it because of that caulk residue. It's not really an easy process to get rid of the caulk to reuse the plastic.
Yeah. So I think, so is it, Tower Sealants' belief that possibly down the road that we may not be able to get these plastic tubes anymore?
Again, not to speculate too much, but that's where we're looking at all possibilities, and we're looking at sustainability, not just for our business, but for painters. And so what would happen if you didn't have the availability of caulk tomorrow? And that's what we're looking proactively to resolve.
So if we didn't have these tubes anymore, you guys have come up with this sausage pack right here. And this is the caulking itself in a sausage pack that goes inside this gun. Can you explain to me just a little bit how this process is used? So this right here, this is what typically would go into a landfill when you're done with this. This sausage pack, when this thing is done, this is all that's left out of this whole thing. And
yep. So there is a 85% or more savings in either job site or landfill waste from the reduction from a spent sausage to, as you can see, the cartridge. If you think about how many of these you can put in a box of caulking versus when you spend them, if you put them back, you can fit obviously 12 in there. The sausage packs are not anything new. This is kind of the standard in the commercial and industrial sealant in the larger 20-ounce size for quite a few decades. What we've done is we've simply made them smaller so that it can fit into our new reusable tube system and can be used with any standard painter's caulk gun.
So I'm going to take this thing apart. So this is the sausage pack inside here, right here. So sausage packs has been around for quite a while then. So that's not a new technology. It's just how this thing is basically now deployed. This is the caulking gun I use. So an absolutely amazing caulking gun. So now I can use sausage packs with a typical caulking gun or can I use it with any caulking gun that painters use?
Yes.
Doesn't have to be this one.
Doesn't have to be that one, although that's an excellent model that we use here frequently. So the main difference, again, this isn't new technology with the sausage. And over the last 6-7 months, I've been to all different places around the country, to new home construction sites, to modular home construction, resi painters, multifamily, pretty much the whole gambit of people that typically use caulk in a production level. And we looked at smaller version of sausage guns, which are available through several manufacturers. The challenge is, though, is the additional weight. And you can think about when you're caulking all day and reaching overhead and bending down to have that additional weight, and it's a different feel. What this allows and what customer feedback has been is you get the exact same caulk. It's the same product in here that's in the tube you're familiar with. We use the same vacuum filling process, so you won't have any air pops or any run-on as a result. The only difference is the way you load the caulk gun is changing a little bit.
So you kind of touched on a little bit, because my first concern was I know I started using Tower Sealants, Tower Tech 2, caulking, and a couple of the other ones, because the packaging process, what I notice, across the board, most caulking out there that you use is the packing process is not very good. There's a lot of air bubbles. There's a lot of air pops. There's a lot of problems with the caulking running out of the tube called run-ons. And so with these sausage sausage packs, I started using Tower Tech too because of that, and because I feel the caulking is a lot better, superior to any of the caulkings that I've reviewed. So this sausage pack is not going to cause any issues with air pops, run-ons, or anything. It's going to be the same quality packaging as what comes in this then.
From first look, I think that's probably what most people would be concerned about. Again, everything is exactly the same from the gun you use to the product to the way it flows out. You won't be able to tell the difference in the feel or the application.
All right, Matt, so we managed to empty a tube of one of the sausage packs, and so we're going to show you exactly what it looks like now, how to reload it. So we've got one right here. This is emptied out, and can you show me how this thing now reloads?
Sure. So this is when you're done with the tube. Pull it out like you normally would, and typically you would throw the cartridge away or place it back in the box like you mentioned. Now you just pull the end cap off. You've got your spent disc. That's your waste. You throw that out. You spin it around. Your tip is already cut the way you like, so you don't have to worry about that step. You just take your next sausage, and as we mentioned, you snip the clip, drop it in, and right back in your gun, and you're ready to go again.
There you go. It's that simple and easy. I got to say, this is pretty cool. So there's a big difference in waste reduction. It seems a significant difference, 86.5 versus 576 cubic inches of waste.
That's per case, yes.
Per case. So in the waste, what we're talking about is the caulking inside. So is that what we're talking about?
That's actually the cubic inches wasted when you're done with a case of caulk. You have to put your 12 empty caulk cartridges back in your case, and that's the cubic space that is required by those versus how many of these that will take the same amount of space.
So a lot less space, bags of garbage that you eventually got to take to the landfill and dump and stuff. So it's going to be a lot less going to the landfill, a lot less for you to transport and stuff. So that's a big deal. Hundreds of uses. So this is a one-use cartridge. This cartridge, I think you said you can get about 200 uses out of this cartridge right here?
We're up to several hundred.
Hundred.
Like everything else, it's do you take care of it, just like you do with your caulking gun. You know, if you allow caulk to dry in it halfway for a week at a time and everything else, you may not get quite as much. But if you respect it like you do the rest of your tools, it'll last you a very long time.
So really, because we were messing around with them yesterday, the only place this thing, because the sausage pack, you're not going to have caulking all over in here. It's really only in the end where you're going to have caulking. And so say at the end of the day, this is a reusable device right here. I can just take this off right here and I would just drop this in a bucket of water, wouldn't I? Just to...
Like you would with paintbrushes or anything else. And then again, you'll have 2 tips per box of sausages. So if you don't want to be bothered, you can throw the tip out and just soak the end cap, or you can use the tip and just clean the caulk out and you're done. Or you can put the whole thing and use it again. If you're halfway through a sausage, it's the same as if you were halfway through a tube of caulk. You can put a piece of painter's tape over the top, you can put a nail in there, and you're good to go for the next day.
Yeah, I mean, we a lot of times as painters, sometimes we're lazy. We just throw our brushes in a bucket of water. At the end of the day, we clean them the next day. I mean, no, it's not the greatest practice in the world, but it happens. And I took this thing, tossed it in a little bowl of water, and came back today, and the caulking is all dissolved off of it, and it's basically clean. So on the back side of this, I'm going to want to talk a little bit about, it's one of the things that says it saves money. So that was one of my initial things is this going to save me money? Is this going to be any cheaper than, going the route of the traditional cartridges? Can you talk a little bit about that, Matt?
Yeah, that's one of the good, not original problems we were looking to solve, but a very nice side benefit. So again, we're looking from a long-term sustainability play to make sure that painters don't run out of product and they always have product available. They're not limited by single-use plastic if it's not readily available for them. It's good for the environment. We're reducing waste by a significant amount. But the advantage is there's also less packaging. There's a lot less material here outside of the caulk with the foil and with 2 clips than what's required for a single-use plastic tube. And then we're using that same box And things that you don't think about, boxes cost money as well. And when we put almost twice as many sausages in that same box, you're taking more packaging cost out. So there's a savings per unit as well that gets passed along to the end user to make it more economical for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's that's going to be one of the big things that painters are going to be concerned about. I mean, especially if you're in the new construction business. I mean, margins are very tight, and we've got to try to save costs, anywhere we can. And one of them, if you can get your caulking cheaper, that's going to be a big benefit. So not only is this an eco-friendly product, we're putting less waste in the landfill, which is actually really good. I think this is one of the things, not only in the new construction market, but in the repaint market. This is something that you can market to your customers, that you are an eco-friendly painter. You use eco-friendly devices, tools, products, and stuff. And I know there's even a painter in Boise, Idaho, where I live, that is called Paint It Green Painters, and they completely market themselves as eco-friendly painters. And this is just one of those things you can do to help market your company. And it's an eco-friendly product, but it also is going to save you money. So bottom line, your margins are going to be better.
If Paint It Green Painters wants to leave a comment below, we'll certainly send you some free samples.
All right, Matt. So we've been talking about this device, this new innovative product that's coming out. So can you just tell the painters tell our audience out there 3 reasons why they should attempt to use this device?
I think the first reason is actually that there isn't really much of a difference. So for painters, and this is your trade and you do it every day, first and foremost, you're going to have the same product again, you're going to have the same air-free filling, you're going to have the same feel and experience. So what you do best all day, every day is going to be exactly the same. How you load and change from one unit to the next is slightly different. So that's reason number 1, is nothing's really changing in how you do your trade. Number 2, we are all hedging against potential future supply chain shortages to ensure that you can continue to get caulk on an ongoing basis, and it's good for the environment. But number 3, again, that important side benefit is the packaging costs less, and so you can save some money today if you're interested in trying out the new system.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to mess around with it here. I'm very excited to take it out in the real world and give it a test myself. This is brand new, so I haven't got the opportunity yet to test it out on a job site, but I'm definitely excited about it. I can't wait to go test it, and I can't wait to get some feedback from some other painters, on our platform that begin using it. So hopefully, Tower might be able to hook me up with getting a few out there, maybe to some of my painters watching this video. So we'll see. So, hopefully you guys, give it a try and, hear what Matt has to say. All right, so I think, one of the things that people are going to be, interested to know is where in the world is Tower Sealants, and where in the world is the product manufactured? I know a lot of products, across the board, tools and stuff, are manufactured all over the world, but I flew across the US, to come see this stuff, being made, and firsthand see Tower Sealants and get the grand tours. So where is Tower Sealants, and where are the products made?
So our headquarters and our manufacturing, same facility. We're in Gainesville, Georgia, which is about 1 hour north of Atlanta.
And something trivia about that's interesting about Gainesville is I learned today that it's the chicken capital of the world.
And you had some fried pickles.
And I did have some fried pickles, and I've seen that on menus multiple times, in my travels all over the place. And I always thought that is something really nasty just to think. And I can't believe they're actually really good.
I don't think they are. No.
So I actually liked them. So interesting fact, in your guess about what the chicken capital of the world really means. All right, Matt, we're wrapping up this interview. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it, but my audience out there, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. I want you to just give me kind of one interesting thing that you've learned, in the caulking industry. It's part of painting. It's part of the process. And, you've come over here at Tower Sealants. So can you just give me, something interesting that you've learned about caulking?
Yeah, and really the reason I came here, I've known the folks at Tower for quite a few years and their products, and what really differentiates, I think, Tower from caulking as a whole is the management team here is very focused on the end user. We have over 100 years of experience in the paint industry specific, and it is knowing what the painter needs and how they use the product and how that evolves over time. Whether it's different types of paints or whether it's changes in the labor force and how caulk gets applied. And every formulation and every tube or sausage of caulk that gets made is with that end user in mind and what's important to them.
Yeah. So I really appreciate, the time that Tower is taken to give us the grand tour of this facility. The people that run this company are amazing. The owners are absolutely amazing. And I do now know why Tower makes the best sealants that I've ever used out there. I've got to see it manufactured. I've got to be explained about the process, a lot of the processes, the packaging, and I've got to talk to the chemist who has been in this industry for ever, creating this stuff, and he's very well known, and hands down, you guys make an absolutely incredible product. As a painter, if you've never tried Tower Sealants, you must give them a try. They are simply the best, and you will find out firsthand. If you guys got any questions or comments about caulking for the Tower Sealants crew, I'm sure they're going to watch this video. I'm sure they'll be there to answer your questions. So just leave it down in the comment section below. Anything and everything about caulking down in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed this video, if you've enjoyed this interview, don't forget, give us a thumbs up. It's what motivates us and keeps us going. Thank you very much, Matt, for your time.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for giving us the grand tour.